Hello and welcome to another episode of the We're Brothers podcast. We're coming at you on Sunday, June 12th, 2022. What's up, bro Nacho?
Bro Nacho. Oh God, we're going with foods again, aren't we? All right, what's happening, bro? Pulled pork.
That was good.
That was
Not
terrible.
much,
I'm
man.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Dude, I am so pumped. So pumped for this episode. This was a surprise to both of us.
Yeah, this is gonna be a great episode. You know what I'm super excited about?
What?
This week in history. Amazing games, I tell you. Just it's gonna be the absolute bomb of our show this week.
I know that there's one on there that you saw. I picked that one just for you.
That's right. That's the only thing we're going to talk about is 3 games in this week in history, and that'll be the end of the episode. Have a good day, folks.
It's a quick episode.
Yeah. No, just kidding. What did we have? Ken, what was the big event that happened earlier on today?
Well, so the cool thing is we already had we've had for weeks now this deep dive that we were going to do, and we've been shelving it. So we're going to do it today. But then around 1:30 or so, I saw a little video titled Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase, and I'm like, oh, because as we all know, E3 is not happening this year. So instead of the actual E3 presentation, this is essentially what they would have shown at E3. So we got an hour and a half long showcase of, was it 30 games?
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I went through. I think there was exactly 30 games that were discussed. That's all going to be coming within the next, well, basically the calendar year. So everything they said, it was all games that'll be out and playable within the next year, which is pretty amazing.
That is, yeah, absolutely amazing. And what they had in there are some games that we are very excited to talk about. So
yeah, I mean, there was a handful that like there's been a little bit of information out there, but there was also a number of games that like some brand new stuff we hadn't seen anything about. And Ken, we got a huge one that we had the first ever video footage of that I had heard like a little bit of rumblings about, but obviously I hadn't seen anything about, and nobody else had either. And it looks absolutely amazing.
I can't wait to get into it. So as always, we're going to start with the news, and for our deep dive, we'll get into the Microsoft and Bethesda showcase.
Yeah, so for our usual run-of-the-mill news, just a couple things to talk about this week. Some news that was interesting to me. They announced the GoldenEye 007 remaster appears to be getting close, as achievements were finally listed on Xbox. So interesting to see that, it must be getting close if they have achievements out there. I would love to see this also come over to the Switch, but, someday I'll get an Xbox and I can play this.
They've done a 007, I'll say 007, but GoldenEye remaster already, I believe.
Did they?
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was for Xbox or if it was for the Wii or the Wii U. I can't remember now, but they have already done a GoldenEye remaster. So I wonder if that's just being ported over to Xbox.
I think this is going to be a full update, like graphically and everything. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what everyone was chatting about. So we'll see. But anyways, they just announced the achievements are finally out there and listed on Xbox. So I'm sure it's getting close. Nothing here. Fortnite could be experimenting with a first-person view, which is big because for the longest time, forever, it's always been a third-person view. But with one of the latest expansions they had, this one you were actually playing last time I came to see you, where like you're doing any building or anything. So that's why they're looking at experimenting with a first-person view because of that.
That's interesting. This is actually the first I've heard about, because as fast as I picked Fortnite up with the no build mode, I just as quickly put it down because it just after a handful of matches, it was like, okay, I've had enough of this.
Yep. I played a couple when I was there and I was like, all right, this is cool. And moving on.
Yeah.
So
I'll say all the everyone out there who's a Fortnite fan, what do you guys think? Hit us in the emails and let us know what you think.
Right. From our millions of listeners.
And millions of listeners.
They're coming, Ken. They're coming. They're just biding their time.
That's right.
And
we could say, leave us a comment, but we couldn't say that just yet. But soon we will be on YouTube.
Yes.
So
it is something we've been talking about. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks, we will finally have some video up there. We'll probably upload some audio of our earlier episodes as well to kick things off. Anything from previous episodes will be on there, and hopefully starting the next couple of weeks, we'll have video on there as well. So looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. And you can obviously still find us on all of our other social media platforms.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it because I've been slowly but surely adding to the podcast room. I got a bunch of new stuff I ordered within this past week, and I'm looking forward to getting them all hung up. That way they can be on full display once we get our video up there as well. Moving on, what? Can't wait to see it.
Can't wait to see it.
I know. Moving on news. So kind of interesting. So with the newest, we're going to be one of the new updates coming for iOS 16 are going to support Joy-Cons and Pro Controllers for the Switch. However, the PlayStation, Xbox have already been supported since iOS 14.5. So any iPhone users out there, I just thought this was kind of interesting. I guess for any type of mobile gaming you're going to be doing.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Do you do much mobile gaming anymore?
Not really. I have like a handful of games on there. There's a bunch that I'd played, and then I don't know. Within the last couple of months, I started like really getting deep into a bunch of the Switch games. So because of the portability of the Switch, I do most of my gaming on that instead.
Sure, absolutely.
Some Sonic news this week. So I believe it was like a Sonic anniversary or something like that. They go on. So they announced or talked about Sonic Origins, which is going to be basically a remaster remake of Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles and Sonic CD. So they're all like updated graphics. And I guess you can also play as a bunch of the characters in like 1, 2, and 3. So before, obviously, you could play as just Sonic in 1 and Sonic and Tails in 2. So you're going to be able to play as all the characters in 1, 2, and 3. And then they also, Sonic Frontiers gets a new animated opening that was discussed. And this thing is kind of cool, which I will most definitely check out because I've always been a big Sonic fan. A new animated series coming to Netflix called Sonic Prime.
Ooh.
So the only thing that threw me for a loop when I first read it, I'm like, oh, Sonic Prime must be coming to Amazon Prime. And then I'm like, coming to Netflix? But why would you name your show Sonic Prime and then put it on Netflix?
Yeah, that is a very strange.
Like I said, as soon as I read it, I'm like, oh, this my most logical thought was, oh, Sonic Prime is coming to Amazon Prime. No,
Sure.
Just kidding. It's coming to Netflix. I
I
wonder if they like had a deal in place for Prime and then they're like, no, they backed out and they went to Netflix and they're like, we'll just keep the name the same.
No, if they already did all the branding, it's like, well, it costs too much money now to Sonic Netflix. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, when I told you Sonic Prime, was that your first thought?
No, because I saw Netflix on the page. So, but if I wasn't already reading it, then it would probably been my first thought.
Sure.
So I have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
So the Sonic Frontiers, that's the new open world.
Yeah.
one, right? So I haven't watched it yet, but all last week, I believe they had like gameplay reveal of it. Have you watched any of the gameplay reveal?
I watched like a little bit that came out last week, just some of the gameplay, and then they released some stuff with like one of the boss battles, just showing like how like the attack mechanisms work and all that. I mean, I think it looks really good. I'll probably check it out at some point. Is
the Sonic Origins, is that coming to Switch?
I believe it's coming to like all the major consoles.
Is that one you'd pick up?
I mean, maybe only because they already have Sonic 2. I played through Sonic 2 on the Switch from the Nintendo online services for the Genesis. I'm sure 1 and 3 will be coming to it. We used to have 3 and Knuckles when you're younger, so I don't know if I would specifically pick it. I've never played Sonic CD, so maybe worth picking up for that. They showed some footage of the remake. I mean, it looks like, to me, like a minor update. I always thought the graphics were really good to begin with the Sonic series on the Sega. So I don't know. I guess once I see some more footage of it, maybe worth picking up. At this point, I probably wouldn't though.
To me, it's like one that I would like to have in my library just for the sake of having those games. But that might be one I wait for it to go on sale or something and pick it up then.
Yeah, I mean, if this thing releases and it's like $60, well, yeah, good luck. I'm all set. So, some Xenoblade news. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So supposedly, pre-orders were supposed to be available on June 8th. They had tons of issues online with people getting on. I guess they were all redirected to They had just a bunch of issues with it. People trying to get on, a ton of people couldn't order them. And normally it wouldn't be like a huge deal, but apparently these special editions ones, especially for Xenoblades, have been pretty heavily sought after. And it's one of those things where normally, like, once it's gone type of thing. I actually read that there was a special edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 when that came out, and now those are going for anywhere between $300 and $600 online. So I guess a ton of people are pissed about it, which rightfully so, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that either. It's amazing how much how big Xenoblade like Chronicles 3 is. The reception it's getting. Like I said, I love 2, so I'm not that surprised, I guess. But yeah, people really like to get their hands on these collector's editions.
I guess what I found most surprising is the fact that, like, this day and age, they still have issues with people like getting online to like pre-order something. I mean, you think with all the technology out there, getting onto a server, especially like from Nintendo or something like that, would be a walk in the park type of thing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think it'd be this type of issue they'd run into, but I guess that's why I'm not in the business.
I guess so.
More VR news. Ghostbusters VR coming to PlayStation VR 2, although no release date yet.
I might get to battle some ghosts with Bill Murray.
Yeah, maybe. This one piqued my interest. A Goat Simulator 3.
You literally lived Goat Simulator, so you don't. How did this pique your interest?
Well, this is what was funny. So this is Goat Simulator 3. There was never a Goat Simulator 2. They literally said in the description they went from Goat Simulator 1 all the way to 3. They skipped 2.
That's a big leap.
That's a big leap. But you play as a goat, you cause chaos, but apparently you can even have jetpacks. Like, so I used to have dwarf goats, and they were fun, but they never had jetpacks. But they did cause some chaos. Oh,
whose fault is that? They didn't have jetpacks.
Oh, they're gonna say that they caused chaos. I'm like, not my fault.
Oh,
well, actually, it was a little bit my fault. So I'm good at building a lot of things. Apparently, goat fences is not one of them. That we had one male goat who liked to escape a lot, and my poor neighbors bore the brunt of that. I had to leave work on more than one occasion because I got text messages from my neighbors that my goats are out roaming around,
causing chaos.
Yeah, good thing they didn't have a jetpack. Some Street Fighter news. Street Fighter 6 we talked about last week. So Guile made his debut this past week in one of the trailers, and they also announced that this would have some cross play capabilities as well.
So it looks cool. I don't know. I may pick this one up. I don't know.
I like, when I saw the initial trailer, I did like the element where it showed them like your main character like running around.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's going to have like a traditional like arcade mode and then like a story mode where I'm assuming you're like some nobody who's trying to make it through the tournament and you got to get better, blah blah blah. That would kind of interest me. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. And it's good to see Guile. I have a feeling that they'll be introducing, or I'd not say introducing, but bringing back a lot of the fan favorite characters that weren't in the first reveal trailer.
Which I think is, when I think back on it, if that's what they're doing, is a much better. Like if it's months away from releasing and you put out a trailer just showing like everybody, you're like, oh cool, but then you're kind of hyped for it dies down. But if you're putting out multiple trailers with like 2 or 3 characters, and then each 2 weeks you introduce like a new character in a different trailer, that's kind of a cool way to build up to it.
I think so, yeah.
And if they're not doing that, you should, because that'd be a much better way of doing it.
Much better.
Yes,
because I think as of right now, as off the top of my head, with the introduction of Guile coming in, it's just Ryu, Chun-Li, and Guile. I think are the only 3 original ones that they've.
Yeah, that's the only 3 I've seen. So, yeah, who knows what they're doing. Moving on, Ken, have you ever played the Last of Us series?
So I have. So I've played the first one. I never beat it. Probably played 15-20% of the game. For those of you who don't know, Last of Us is developed by Naughty Dog. They are a PlayStation exclusive company. They make the Uncharted series. They're known for Uncharted. They're known for Last of Us. They are an amazing company. Last of Us, when it first was showcased back at I can't even tell you, maybe 2009 E3, whenever they first showcased the gameplay trailer for Last of Us, to this day, that is probably one of the best gameplay reveal trailers that I've ever seen. The game is it like really is really gripping, really sucks in. And obviously a lot of people love it, but I know that's a really long-winded answer. So I
Cool. I'm
apologize.
glad you've played it.
Yes, I have played it.
Did you own it, or did you just like borrow it from somebody or rent it, or?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think I borrowed it from somebody.
Was it a PS3 when that came out then?
Yeah, okay. I played it on PS3. Yeah,
Gotcha.
But
Anyways,
since they've done remasters and all that, yeah, go on. Yeah.
So the reason I brought it up, TV series coming to HBO. Don't have a date for it yet, but they said it will be faithful to the game series. So I've never played the game. I've heard wonderful things about it. So I'll probably check out the TV show.
I'm gonna say it. Mark my words. This TV show will do very well.
I'm sure.
The way that the game is written, it might as well be
a TV series
already. Yeah, it's it's written that well. It's and presented in the cutscenes and everything. This show will do very well, especially since it's going to be on HBO. It will be fine. Do very well.
Speaking of shows, I know this is unrelated, but we I think touched on this the other day when you and I were just chatting off air. I am super pumped later on this fall on Amazon. Speaking of Amazon Prime, the Lord of the Rings prequel is coming to Amazon, and I am so excited for that. Huge Lord of the Rings fan, and I've heard it's already been they've already laid out 5 seasons. They've been greenlit for 50 hours of so basically 50 1-hour episodes has already been like agreed to and gone through with Amazon. So
wow.
One thing they were comparing it to, and I was reading an article on the other day, was obviously Game of Thrones. But one of the issues Game of Thrones had is very early on into the TV series, they kind of caught up with the book series. And so they were kind of winging things the last couple of seasons, which I didn't realize till recently. And that's why in the beginning, it was such an amazing show. Overall, I thought the show was really good, but it definitely kind of went off the rails a little bit, I felt, and wasn't as well done as the earlier seasons. So they have all 5 seasons of this pretty much planned and laid out. And the people who are creating it have already said that they have the last shot of the show already set up and they know what they're doing. So the fact that they already have planned out like a beginning, a middle, and end, which sounds very logical, I think this is going to do really, really well. I can't wait to see this.
I'm excited too. It takes place 1,000 years before.
I think that's what I read. Yeah. 1,000 years before the Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Really cool. So, really looking forward to that.
Our last piece of news here, some Final Fantasy news. Final Fantasy VII, to be specific. It's the 25th anniversary. On June 16th, there's going to be a live stream, and people are hoping to see footage of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. You've played through Part 1, correct?
I have.
Yeah.
Yep. It was amazing.
I haven't played any of the remake. I've played through it on PlayStation earlier on, and I really liked it a lot. Obviously, it's an okay game. It's pretty amazing. So I haven't seen. When I come and visit you, you have it on your PS5?
Yep.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Just so I haven't seen any like gameplay of the original part. So.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely incredible.
Cool.
Great. They did a beautiful job. So I'm really looking forward to Part 2.
Nice. Well, that covers our news before we get into our deep dive. And as always,
good news week.
Games of the week. What do you got, Ken?
So not too much this week. We're going to be starting off with a little game called Skeleton Crew for the PC. Comes out June 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Steam's description reads, kick, throw, and thrash your way to victory in this gothic multiplayer platform brawler. Explore dungeons, unlock new characters, kick butts.
Kick butts?
Kick butts. That's what Steam's description reads. So that's what Ken says. Next we have Redoubt 2. Comes out for the PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch.
Is it Readout 2 or Redout?
Redout.
I think it's Red. Well, it's
Ken don't speak English good.
Reed would have an A in there, and there's definitely no A unless you just typed it up wrong.
Redout? No, that's how it's spelled. Redout.
Okay, Redout 2.
Redout 2. Redout. Redout 2 comes out June 16th. The fastest racing game in the universe. Redout 2 is to tribute to classic arcade racing games and the sequel to the critically acclaimed Redout. Reach impossible speeds and accelerating futuristic races across an extensive single-player campaign and competitive multiplayer. Almost looked like an old racing game called Pod that we used to play.
Dude, right before we started this episode, I was actually going to click on something, and I have Pod Gold, like limited series, whatever, saved on my computer for the game because I wanted to show my son Braden several years ago. I never deleted it off my computer.
Oh,
yeah. I think I tried getting it to load, and it ran into a whole bunch of issues because it was from like Windows 98 or something like that.
That's understandable. That and African Safari. Oh, great games.
Dude, I came so close to beating that game a couple years ago, and then it kept freezing on me every time I'd get the stupid permit for the
Rhino.
Damn Rhino.
That damn Rhino.
So close. Anyway.
And the last game here coming out this week is based on the movie Starship Troopers. The game is called Starship Troopers. Terran Command. What's that face for?
This movie. Did you ever see the movie?
Who hasn't seen Starship Troopers? Neil Patrick Harris? Come on.
I've never seen it. I've seen like bits and pieces of it.
You never
I heard it was
Starship Troopers?
I heard it did like horrible. Didn't it?
It's like a cult classic. It's a great movie.
Anytime a movie is a cult classic, that means it didn't do well.
No, that means it's amazing. Starship Troopers is, and 2 is nah, but the original Starship Troopers, like never saw it on Sci-Fi?
No.
With the giant bugs, and they put the grenade in the bug's back, and it goes kablooey.
I've seen clips of it, but I'm just amazed. I mean, the movie was to come out, 15 years ago? And they're making a video game about it now?
Way longer than that.
20 years ago?
Well, let's take a quick gander at Steam's description and see what we're getting ourselves into. Starship Troopers Terran Command is a thrilling real-time strategy game.
Oh, stop right there.
Yeah, I'm
thrilling. You put thrilling real-time strategy. Those words should not be in sync with each other.
And it's set in the Starship Troopers movies universe. Take command of the mobile infantry. Do your part in the war against the arachnid threat. Ensure that human civilization, not insect, dominates the galaxy now and always.
Thrilling real-time strategy.
Set in the universe of Starship Troopers. Man, I bet it's like StarCraft 2. It's like so good.
They were like, Star Troopers Terran Command is a boring real-time strategy game.
That would probably be accurate. Yeah.
They're like, play this game while you fold laundry. Do the dishes. That's great.
So yeah.
All right.
So that's the upcoming games.
That's a ton we got coming up. Ooh-wee. How can we contain it all?
What you just call me? So coming up next,
doing tint.
Rin tin tin.
It's like, what'd you say? I said tint. Like paint the tint.
The tint.
For those of you who don't get that joke, go back and watch or listen to episode 13.
Oh yeah, that was from that one.
Oh my goodness.
I was thinking it was a conversation you and I had in the car or something on the phone.
No, it was definitely from last week.
That's
I laughed hysterically, and then when I listened to the episode later on, I also laughed hysterically.
It's because we're so funny. You know how I know we're so funny? Because the millions of emails we get every week saying you guys are so funny.
You just get tons of email people going ha 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 ha.
See, you read them
That's
too.
Right.
We share an email.
We do.
At the werebrothespodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
So this week in gaming history, we have 3 very cool games. And it's funny, one of them I didn't even realize was going to be in the news. But hey, what do you know? It is.
We're brothers.
But we're going to start all the way back with the first one. And it's a little game that I was surprised to see. This came out in Japan called Blaster Master. I mean, it came out in America too, but it was first released in Japan 34 years ago, back in 1988 for the Famicom.
This was a fairly, I feel like, obscure game. Like somebody bought it for us. We had it when we were a kid. Anytime I mention it to somebody else, I don't think I've maybe one person's been like, oh yeah, I know that game.
Yeah, don't post that on the Nintendo Facebook things. People are gonna be like, oh, what do you mean? Everyone had Blaster Master. I've been playing this for 64 years.
It's only been out 34, but okay, that's cool.
But that's what they'll say because they're not nice people.
And I was like, where's he going with this? Ken's about to alienate a third of our listeners. Ken's like, they are okay people.
We're only gonna get 6 downloads this week. No. Down from 12.
Yeah, from 6 million down from 12 million. So 88, good year.
Yeah.
What do we have after that?
So also this week, 21 years ago, back in 2001, a game called Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, that's funny. This was in the news too. Not like, Sonic was in the news.
How is 2001 20? When I read that, I'm like, oh, 2001. That was just a few years ago. And then you go, oh, it was 21 years ago.
21 years ago.
Oh, I'm old. Okay.
So that came out for the Dreamcast. I really like Sonic Adventure 2 because this is the one that had Shadow. And this is where, do you remember Soaps? The brand of shoes called Soaps that had a grind plate in it.
Oh, yes.
So it's like Sonic, he wore these shoes, and like this was like a real shoe company.
Were these before or after the wheelies?
No, Heelys.
Heelys, them too. I was like, every time I said it, I'm like, that's not right. No, that's still not right. It's
I'm just saying the same word over and over again. It's still not right.
I was like, wheelies, nope, wheels, nope, Heelys. Oh, there it is.
That's it. I think this was before the Heelys.
Okay.
So there was a shoe company, for those of you who don't know, called Soaps. Yep. And imagine a sneaker, but then in the middle of the sole on the bottom, there was this metal plate. So what you could do is like run and jump on, say, a railing and slide down the railing.
Grind down it. Yeah, it was like contoured. Like it had a loop so it would bite onto the railing.
Right.
I never had one, but I'm like, oh, that's different.
So in Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic, he had a pair of Soaps as shoes, and you would run through the levels and could like grind down these rails and all this. So yeah.
Why is the shoe called Soaps? That why wouldn't they call it grinds or something?
Slides?
Slides. Yeah, I got me some slides.
Got me those slides.
It's a lot better name than a soap. Oh, what do you got? I got me some soaps. Okay.
I just because this is just hitting me real quick. This is gonna be just a quick tangent. So Em is my wife. We went grocery shopping before we recorded this video.
Yeah.
And on our way to the grocery store in our town that we live in, there was a man walking down the street, no shirt on, wearing shorts and boxers.
Wait,
his whole butt was his whole butt, not just like the box, like
was it like Superman where the boxers were on the outside of the shorts, or were they just like hanging down so you could see them?
No, like his shorts were hanging low,
yeah,
and then his boxers were then also hanging low, so like you could see like his whole butt.
Yeah,
wasn't wearing a shirt, and he was wearing one sock, not like shoes, and no, like completely barefoot, and then on the other foot was just a sock.
There's one of two ways the story played out. Either he had an amazing day, or he had the worst day ever. There's no in between. I mean, It's either like this day was epic and amazing, or it was a typical Sunday and it was miserable.
Yeah,
but I will say, knowing where you live, that sounds about right.
Really? Well, yeah. I mean, it's like it's not that bad, but we were, if we had kids, we probably would have just turned around and gone home for the night. Sort of deal. So.
That reminds me, years ago, I was just leaving the house in Laconia, and as we come out to the main drag, we were like 100 yards from it. I see a guy go by on a motorcycle, wearing just shorts and sandals, no shirt. No like long pants, no sneakers.
Helmet.
I've ridden motorcycles for years. If that bike goes down, that is a painful day for you to have no shirt on, no shoes, just sandals. That just made me think of your guy with maybe he started the day with sandals and socks and he lost both sandals.
He got a motorcycle accident and everything just
lost both sandals and a sock.
Sounds and a shirt, and yeah, it was wild. So anyway, sorry about that tangent. Well, anyway, so the last game in this week in gaming history,
yeah,
we have The Last of Us.
Ooh.
Came out 9 years ago already, in 2013 for the PS3.
That's funny. I just asked you what system was on. Look at that. I should have looked down and been like, oh, I don't need to ask this question.
But for those of you listeners out there, now you know.
Now you know.
And knowing
is half the battle.
That's right.
G.I. Joe. That was
Not
an
cop-
80s. That was an what? That was an 80s reference.
I thought it was a G.I. Joe reference myself, but I guess it's.
Well,
an
I mean,
80s.
it was from the 80s. So,
I know.
Oh, my goodness, you don't know. I'm telling you.
No, I'm telling you.
Well, that'll cover our usual for this week. News. New games
we'll
of the week.
see you all next week.
This week in history. No, just kidding. We are going to take a short break before we jump into the Xbox and Bethesda presentation. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So, continuing on with the We're Brothers podcast. So, just to real quick clarify, so people understand what the whole break and everything happens now. Is Zoom did an update where you can only record 40 minutes of audio at a time for free or whatever.
Yeah, thanks. I'm not paying $500 a month for us to be able to record. Anyway, so we record a 40-minute chunk, take a short break, and then we start back afresh. So yeah.
So if there's like a 5-second dead air time in the middle of it, that's why.
Yeah, we planned it
that way.
Anyways, so our big news of the week, our deep dive, Xbox and Bethesda presentation. 30 games to cover. We got 40 minutes. Let's go. Ken, do you want to kick us off?
So, do you want to do this just right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Head down. Okay. So the game that kicked off first was a game called Redfall. So we actually they showcased this game last year, but I don't believe that they showed any actual gameplay trailer. They just showed a cinematic for the game. So they showed more. They showed actual gameplay from this trailer. So it's like a zombie. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Not zombie. Nope, not zombie. Vampire, action, adventure, multiplayer shooter game where you have like, you can level up your skills and have different kind of class abilities and stuff. Pretty neat. It looks like if fans of the Left 4 Dead series might be into this.
Well, it's from the same company that made Dishonored and Prey. So I gotta say, there was a lot of like horror games I felt like were presented in this. A lot of these there were very few games that were all like colorful and cheery, and you're like, yay. A lot of it was all very dark and depressing, I felt like. But
so actually, I made a note saying that there's like a lot of horror games in like coming out soon.
Well, we must be related or something.
We must be brothers.
We're brothers. Yeah, I had never seen any footage of this before the trailer, and to kick this off as like the first game in their presentation, I thought was pretty good. The graphics I thought were amazing from actual gameplay footage, and I loved like when you would actually shoot one of the vampires, how the whole body kind of like disintegrates.
When she shot it with a flare gun.
Yeah, anyways, it was definitely like creepy when she's like going in this room in the beginning. I was like, why is this girl going in this room? I would have just turned around and be like, yeah, somebody else can figure out this problem. Adios, amigos.
This girl has telekinetic powers, though.
Well, she should have telekinetic her way out of there, because I sure would have. Anyways, this game looked pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we have a game called Hollow Knight. Had you seen anything on this before? I'm sorry, Hollow Knight's Silk Song.
So Hollow Knight is like this. I don't know if this is considered Hollow Knight 2, because Hollow Knight is already a game.
Oh, did not realize that.
So I assume it's considered an indie game. I know it's a very popular one that a lot of people have heard of and love.
It looked pretty cool. Like, it looks simple yet like fun and enjoyable. Did you see my description? So there were so many games on here when I was putting together my notes on this presentation. I just had little quips so I would remember what a bunch of these games were. I described this one as bunny with spear, because that's what it looked like to me, as this bunny with a spear.
My notes on this one was looks fun.
Looks fun. Every single game on here, Ken's like, looks fun.
Looked fun.
It looks fun. this one looks fun too. I would have got them all confused. Yeah, so mine was bunny with spear. Anyways, that's what it looked like to me.
Looks fun.
Looks fun. So leading to looks fun, High on Life, coming out October of this year, October 2022. So I thought it was interesting. It's from the co-creators of Rick and Morty. Did you know
Yeah.
that?
I knew it because they told us.
But I mean, prior to them telling us, did you know anything? Have you seen anything about this?
No, I think that this was a exclusive, like, first look. I haven't seen anything on this game.
Dude, when I say this game looks like it's out there, it looks out. Looks like you were high on life when they came up with the idea for this game, wrote the coding for this game, and like your weapons have faces and talk to you.
It looks like your weapons are like aliens themselves.
I would say it looks like the White Power Ranger when he had his saber and that thing was talking to him. What
was the name? Wasn't it
Sword
Saber? Like, wasn't that the name?
It was something like that. But my description of this is, I said it looked like a combination of Earthworm Jim, Jet Force Gemini, and Mass Effect.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I wrote great graphics because despite how wacky and far out there, cartoony
and cartoonish,
the graphics, I was like, damn, like
I would say I was very impressed with the graphics as well. But my first thought when I thought was, oh, this is like a remake of Earthworm Jim. It just seemed to have this wacky type of environment that was very outlandish, but it looked fun.
It looks fun. Yeah. I would never buy this game. I would never, like, I mean, I'm a fan of first person shooters, but just artistically, it's just not. It's not up my alley, I guess.
I was saying, I think I said this to you. I don't think it was on air. It was when we were just shooting the shit. But there's been a bunch of games that I've played that you've introduced me to that, under normal circumstances, I probably never would have picked up and played, and then I found them to be like very enjoyable. I feel like this might be one of them where I'd be like into it, but from first glance, I'd be like, oh, I'd never touch that game. But there's a part of me that kind of wants to play it just to be like, oh, my weapon's talking to me.
You know what game I think of when you talk about games I introduced you to? Is Shovel Knight.
That is the top of that list. I look at that game and I'm like, this is the dumbest game ever. And then you and I started playing it, and I'm still pissed that we never got to finish playing it. I mean, granted, you fell asleep in the middle of, well, we weren't in the middle of playing, but we took a break and then you fell asleep. But anyways, Shovel Knight, yeah, that's at the top of the list of games that you've introduced me to, where I'm like, I never would have played this game if it wasn't for you. And I loved Shovel Knight.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Great game.
So
High on Life.
Yep.
So
High on Life.
That was an interesting. And then I'm not I know neither are you, but neither of us play League of Legends, or anything, Legends of Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, Valorant. But Xbox said that they are going to be releasing all champions, agents, and foundations. They're all unlocked for those games. So if you, so it's for the Game Pass this winter is when all that stuff's going to be unlocked for Game Pass owners. So
if you're into any of that, enjoy. After
that, they showcased a Plague Tale Requiem. So they've showcased this game earlier last year, I believe. And so we got another trailer for that. I said looks cool, but won't play. Like, it's just a game that, again, it looks really cool. But one, I don't have an Xbox, obviously, and I'm not going to pick it up for PC. So what do you think?
Yeah, my first impression of this when I saw the start of it, just the playthrough, was, oh wow. I just thought the graphics were amazing. It's these new gen consoles that are out, I think, are just absolutely amazing, and the detail they have on some of these things. So this comes out later on this year, 2022. It's a third person perspective. The other note I had was lots of rats. I've never heard of anything of this game. I hadn't seen any prior playthrough. I don't really understand the objective of the game just from the video I watched, but there was a lot of rats, and I liked how she pushed the guy into a pile of rats and they all ate him. But graphically, I thought it was really cool. It's if I see some more of it, it may be something I'd be interested in, but I guess until I know more about the storyline and everything, hard to say. But I was just super impressed with the graphics.
I mean, it looks like it has an open world
to
it, and and my guess is it would have some sort of RPG light elements to it, I would think. So looks like a cool game. Looks like it'd be for me personally, probably would be a game that I would do a watch through, maybe on someone do a playthrough of it. Potentially if you get it and you do a playthrough of it, I'd watch you on Twitch.
Yeah, that's exactly something like that.
So
speaking of graphics, out of all these games that were shown, this one is the one I was probably the most blown away by, just based on the graphics alone. I hadn't seen anything on the new Forza Motorsports. Obviously, I've heard about them for years. I've never played any of these games. I wouldn't say I'm huge into racing games. I like them at like an arcade, like if I can sit down and play with like have a steering wheel and stuff. But I've never really been big into them as like a home console game, just from trying to control them. But being a car nut that I am, and that a lot of this playthrough focused on the new BMW M8, I was absolutely blown away by Forza Motorsport. I just thought everything on it was, everything they've updated on it. They said they started from the ground up when they did this game, but I just thought it was amazing that, like, so on the tracks, they said that weather, like the time of day, temperatures are all going to have an effect on like how your car handles, and all those things are going to have like real-time effects on it. The other thing that was pretty amazing is they were talking about body damage on the vehicle. They said everything down to like the individual scratches on every body panel is all like purposefully done. So like if you hit a guardrail with a car, each one of those like scratches that are on there are all because like that part of the vehicle touched the guardrail. I was just amazed at this game. Absolutely amazed.
It looks excuse me. I know off air you and I talked about this just very briefly, and I'll just say again, I truly believe that Forza has taken the throne away from Gran Turismo, and for a while now. It just seems like Forza has been the cutting edge of racing games, and again, certainly I'm a car buff and a driving enthusiast. We both are. You are a lot more of a car guru than I am, but I do not play racing games like that. Like you said, I like when we go to arcades and stuff, we always like racing against each other. But if I had something that was like, say, an actual steering wheel, had like a good, decent setup, I could see myself playing racing games more.
Absolutely.
This will be brought up in another game that's coming up here soon, but I would love to see, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would love to see a VR feature for Forza, because if you could get me like the steering wheel, pedal, brake, and gas pedal, and then VR, all day, baby, all day. That would be awesome.
We number of years, probably 8 years ago now, you and Dad and I, and we were just talking about this the other day. They had a back when car shows were still going on before COVID. We went down to the Boston Car Show, and they actually had a racing simulator there from Ford when the ST was coming out, and you could race around the Nürburgring, and it had 3 giant monitors, and you could like the whole machine you sat in like move side to side, and it had like all these different features. It was, if I had a rig like that, although that thing was probably like $10,000-$15,000. I'd be sitting in that baby all day long playing racing games.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually had forgotten all about that until last week when you sent me pictures of myself sitting in it, racing. And I can't remember. Did you end up doing that?
Yeah, I did it first. I think I did it first, and then I took a picture of you when you got into it,
and then I got into it. And I can't remember. So I believe that what we were playing, we may have been playing a Forza game.
It may have been Forza. I was just thinking that. I would probably bet money on it. It was it was probably run on the same software as Forza, would be my guess. Because it was something that was put together by Ford. I remember that because I remember it was the new ST when that had come out.
Yeah, correct. So that, like you said, it'd probably be $15,000 or so.
Least, Anyways, Forza Motorsports looks amazing. Yeah.
Would you pick that up? Because when you get an Xbox, is that a game that you'd buy?
I might, even without like a racing setup, just because it looked amazing. There were scenes in there where I'm like, you could have plucked this right out of like shooting your video footage like at the track.
Sure.
So, speaking of simulators, Microsoft announced One of they're literally their oldest franchise that they have. So when they first started playing this, they were talking about how it's the oldest franchise they have, and it was 40 years old. I'm like, what the hell do they have that's 40 years old? I completely forgot about this. Microsoft Flight Simulator comes out in November 2022.
So I just was talking about VR. This was the other one I was talking about. This I've seen a like on 9gag different videos of VR setup for flight simulators. I Again, this I don't know if there's actual game objectives or on this, but it looks
don't crash. That's the game objective.
That's fair. That's a good one. That's probably rule number one, right?
You put the Boeing 747 into the ocean. You're like, did I win? No, you lost miserably along with all those people's lives.
We're taking the black box. Yeah. I mean, have you ever played a flight simulator?
I've never played a flight simulator, but I remember a few months ago I was watching a video and it was like outrageous plane crash caught on video, and I was like, what? I was like, gotta watch that, and I click on it. I'm like a minute into the video and finally I see the plane like do some outlandish maneuver, and I'm like, oh, this is a video game, dude. I legit for like a solid minute I'm like, it looked so realistic. I thought it was a real plane, and then it like did some barrel roll, and I'm like, man, that plane can't do that. I was like, something's fishy here. Oh, it's
who took the jumbo jet and did a barrel
roll? Anyways, yeah. Have you ever played any of Flight Simulator?
Yes, in middle school in seventh grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, something like that. We had a class that was like, I think not integrated. It was like a computer class, but it wasn't like we had computer class and we had this computer class. It was some, I don't know. But in it, one of the years we had to get a private pilot's license in Flight Simulator.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that's cool.
That was a class.
Only flying game I remember playing I had in the early days on PC.
Magic Carpet.
I knew you were going to say that. No, that wasn't it. Do you remember Terminal Velocity?
I do.
That was a funny. I actually had a sweet joystick with firing and all the stuff.
Yeah,
I only had like the first episode, but that was a game I loved.
You could get upgrades and stuff for your jet with like missiles and.
Yeah, well, so there was Raptor, which was like a top-down view, like flight, shooting game flying. But then there's Terminal Velocity, which is like a 3D, like in space. That's the one I used the joystick for.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyways. Moving on.
That'd
be a sweet game to see remake.
Terminal Velocity. It sounds like a really bad like 90s movie.
It sounded like a bad 90s video game too.
With Keanu Reeves or something. Not saying Keanu's bad, but he would be in it. Terminal Velocity.
If you go below 600 miles an hour, the plane will explode.
Exactly. I'd watch it.
Moving on.
Oh, wait, real quick.
Oh my goodness.
I thought it was really cool that in the flight simulator that they had the Halo Infinite.
Yeah, so that's supposed to be like a download that you can get for it. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. When they go through the flight simulator, when they get to that part, I'm like, isn't that the ship from Halo? I'm like, there we go.
Now, I will say, given the fact that we have Top Gun that just came out, I'm surprised they didn't do some sort of like flight simulator Top Gun, as well, because they didn't really show like any fighter jets in there.
They're saving that.
Yeah, DLC
for Top Gun 3
for Tom Hanks. Cruise.
The
cruise missile.
The cruise is sending you the cruise. Moving on to Overwatch.
So Overwatch 2 is free to play, I guess, and launches on October 4th, 2022. That's what I said. Wait.
Does yours say 4th?
Yeah, mine says 4th.
We can split the difference. It comes out October 3rd.
Yours says 2nd? That's
what I wrote down. Oh, you know what? It's October 4th. Just kidding.
Okay.
Good job, Eddie. I was just checking to see if you were paying attention.
So we'll split the difference. It comes out October 4th.
4th. I mean, there's not a whole lot we have to say about Overwatch. Millions and millions and millions of people play it. A few more people play that than listen to our podcast, but that's okay.
Just a few more.
We'll forgive them. Anything you want to add about Overwatch?
No, it'll do fine. I like the original Overwatch. I've played a bunch of.
Mm-hmm. I just like the big gorilla.
Winston.
You know who he reminds me of?
No.
Optimus Prime and Beast Wars.
Oh, and Beast Wars. Yeah.
Every time I see him in there, I'm like, oh, is this Beast Wars? Oh no, it's stupid Overwatch. just kidding. I don't think it's stupid.
You remember the Beast Wars video game? That was a good game.
Wait, what? The
Well, it
video
wasn't
game?
that good.
I thought you were gonna say the TV show. TV show is
honestly,
amazing.
You know what that reminds me of? Optimus Prime from Beast Wars. Do you remember Beast Wars?
No, I was like, wow, Ken must have missed that whole last 30 seconds. Ken's like, you know what this gorilla reminds me of? Beast Wars. You ever seen it? Yeah, that was a great show. Although I was super confused when I went to Beast Machines when they made it back to their home planet.
Yeah, I thought they looked stupid.
They did, and poor rhinoceros guy went all like psycho.
What was his name?
Rhinoceros.
Rhinos. It's because they didn't have the permit.
They didn't have the permit. Anyways, those of you who have never seen Beast Wars, go back and watch it. It was pretty epic.
Yep.
It's right up there with Reboot.
Oh, good one. They should do a reboot video game. Anyway, we're getting off track.
Reboot.
Yeah.
Anyways, Aura History Untold.
So
I know anything about this?
No, but when I was convinced, I'm like, like from like maybe 10, 15 seconds in, I'm like, new Civilization game. And
dude, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah, and then I was like Aura History Untold. I'm like, what? No, Civilization.
I almost put that on my notes, like Civilization. Although the funny thing is, I've never played Civilization, but yeah, I'm like, same thing. I was like 10 seconds in. I'm like, Civilization. That's exactly what I thought. If you didn't think that, well, I don't know. It's a turn-based strategy. This is an exhilarating turn-based strategy.
And it says it's an evolution in turn-based historical grand strategy. So obviously a family friend of ours, our buddy John Thayer, he is a big Civilization fan. He likes these. Yeah, he likes these type of games. So I've never played Civilization. I've only seen John play Civilization. So I bet this would be John. Aura History Untold. This would be right up your alley, buddy.
Right up your alley. Moving on, you can do a new Elder Scrolls High Isle. Comes out June 21st, 2022. Yep.
So brand new DLC for Elder Scrolls Online for you Elder Scrolls Online fans.
Yeah, not much to say about this. It was I never really got into Elder Scrolls. I played it. I dabbled with it a little bit. I think 4. Is that the one you had before on the 360?
Yeah, you played Oblivion. Yeah.
Oblivion, yeah. A little bit. Yeah, so congrats if you're into Elder Scrolls. New DLC.
And again, Elder Scrolls Online it's different than the main line.
Gotcha.
It's similar but different.
It's the same but different.
Exactly.
Fallout 70. Oh,
yeah. Let's say same thing in the same vein as Elder Scrolls. They got Fallout 76, which is the online role playing version of Fallout. So brand new expansion for that is also coming out in 2022, but in September. So early fall, you get a new DLC for Fallout 76. I like the Fallout series. I like Elder Scrolls series. I'm not a fan of the online
versions
of them.
Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels
DLC coming
on
July 19th, 2022 for Xbox, PC, and the cloud.
Perfect. Like it. Arc 2023.
Dude, can I just say
not called Arc 20? It's Arc coming out 2. In 2023.
So shout out to my boy Tony out there, who his brother and their friends, a couple guys from Ireland that they know. Shout out to all you guys. You guys are the only people I know that play Arc. And I believe that this is so Arc like Evolved is the first one. It's like Arc Survival Evolved or something. Mm-hmm. And I know you can like you level up your character and like you all like are on this island and like create stuff and ride dinosaurs and all this jazz. Well, this is a sequel to that. So hope you guys are happy. But can I just say real quick that I'm sorry, man. I'm sick of Vin Diesel.
Dude, like I thought this was Fast and Furious, like back in time or something like that. Because I see this dinosaur come stomping in and then the camera hands up and I'm like, is that Vin Diesel riding a dinosaur?
Like I see Vin Diesel, I instantly eye roll like, oh God, like please get out, like get off my screen, Vin. Get off. Are you you don't feel the same way?
I've never played any of the art games. I get no beef with Vin Diesel, I guess. I mean, if he showed up at my door, I'd be like, "What's up, man? How's it going? Love you in every Fast and the Furious movie, and maybe Chronicles of Riddick." But yeah, it was just so funny. I'm like, I had no idea his likeness was gonna be in it, and I'm just like, why is Vin Diesel on a dinosaur?
That's so. I didn't even think of that. It's a new Fast and Furious movie.
Fast and Furious, back in time.
Turbo Raptor.
Turbo Raptor.
I don't know.
He gets a DeLorean, goes back in time. He's like, oh shit, I'm riding a dinosaur. He's like, I gotta get this thing to 88 miles an hour. Starts whipping the dinosaur. Starts running.
This here Raptor, he's not only fast, but he's also furious. Let's go, Bone Jaw. And then he jumps on him and they race. Yeah, he can do a quarter mile in 25 seconds.
Well, my first thought is, I'm like, how is he controlling a, I don't know, 20-ton T-Rex just by sitting on his back and yanking a rope through its mouth?
Dude, then he has some like monkey kid on his hip. Like what is up with that?
Monkey kid. This dinosaur. I mean, I understand how. Well, I guess I don't really understand how you control a horse the same way, but I'm pretty sure a T-Rex doesn't respond the same way a horse does.
Well, last time I rode a T-Rex, he was fine. He was galloping.
He went from a trot to a gallop.
Yeah.
All
right.
It
was good.
Moving on from Ark and Vin Diesel, we got Scorn, October 21st, 2022. Yet another, I'd say, horror-ish shooting game.
Yeah, I literally wrote so many horror games.
So if you're into that, you just wait till October 21st of this year.
And feel the wrath of a woman's. Feel the wrath of a woman's.
Scorn.
There we go.
I was like, what am I waiting on here? Oh, the name of the game is Scorn. Okay, yeah, I'm with you now.
Now, that's not like the slogan for the game. I just want to make sure people.
Microsoft is listening to our podcast. They're like, is that what our slogan was? Did I miss that in the meeting last Monday? All of a sudden, they're like, hey, I got a great idea for a slogan.
Feel the wrath of a woman's.
Scorn.
There we
go. Anyways, we'll give you that one, Microsoft. You're welcome. It's a gift from us here at the Weird Brothers podcast.
That's right.
That's right.
So,
moving on, we got
in the next one, I'm going to say something and then you say the name. Somebody hand me my
Flintlock.
Yeah. The Siege of Dawn.
Whatever that's supposed to be. So we got that's coming out early 2023. So this is like an open world, third person view type game. Do you know anything about it?
I know that it looks cool, won't play.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing. It does look pretty cool. I do feel bad. Some of these games are going over. We have zero information to give to our listeners. So hopefully you're just laughing a lot. You won't feel a woman scorn.
And then have to grab your flintlock to shoot the woman. That's not.
That's like so did you ever watch the show what was it? The new one, the Tim Allen that came out?
Man of the Hour. Last Man Standing.
Last Man Standing. They had a great one where he's like cleaning a flintlock rifle and his wife's like, they had their grandson over and she's like, you just gotta leave that out? And he's like, yeah, it's a flintlock rifle. And she's like, well, what if he got his hands on it? Oh yeah. So he would like pour in the gunpowder, pack it in there, then put in a bullet, pack that in there, half cock this, put some gunpowder on here. He's like, the whole thing is a safety. Shoot it. Anyways, made me think of that with Flintlock.
See, Flintlock, and then his wife came and he felt the woman's scorn.
That's right. Moving on. Another game that needs really no introduction, Minecraft Legends. Well, I guess Minecraft doesn't need an introduction, but this is a new take on it, I suppose. Comes out next year.
They said that this was like some sort of Minecraft real-time strategy game.
Yeah, like an action strategy.
Don't they know that people don't like these type of games? And by people, I mean you and me. So.
You're right. Have you played Minecraft ever?
No, no.
I mean, I guess I get it for a certain generation and group of people. I've never been into it. I've never played it.
Does Braden play?
No, but I've seen he'll like watch videos on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I ground him for it. I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
How dare you?
Watch something good like Flintlock. Watch Vin Diesel ride a dinosaur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's not terrifying.
Yeah. Speaking of other games, which I have not quite figured out behind it.
Lightyear Frontier.
Yeah, but I wrote down this was farming plus mechs.
That's kind of what it looked like.
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like a lot of these next ones coming up, a handful of them were kind of like just looked like indie.
Yeah,
titles.
exactly. So we got, I guess we'll run through a couple of these. So we have Gunfire Reborn, comes out in October of this year. I just wrote that it was a shooting game. Kind of looks like cell shading. I was thinking like Beautiful Joe when I was kind of like watching the Beautiful Joe, but with shooting. One that does look really interesting to me, actually, that I don't know anything about, The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Looks really interesting. Don't know a thing about it.
I mean, I just liked it was just like kind of a LA noir style, like dark and gritty, but it was like a platformer. It was like I don't know. It intrigued me, but it comes out in spring of next year. I wrote down it was a platforming action game. Looked kind of cool. As Dusk Falls was another interactive strategy. Comes out July 19th of this year. All of you strategy people, you have fun with that.
That is listed as an emotional psychological drama.
Something like that. Yeah, watching the video was an emotional psychological drama.
But thank you for all your game developers and all your hard work.
Yes, you guys do
hours you've spent in. Yep.
Naraka. This one.
Naraka.
This reminded me of like Dynasty Warriors, but not quite.
Yeah. So, but not quite. So this game, I think it's been around already a little bit. Like I've heard of this game. Maybe it's just beta tests or.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of these where they had like beta testing and like the full game was coming out soon. This may have been one of them. Comes out. Where would I see this on here?
June 23rd, 2022.
Yeah. That
so
too.
Comes out here in just about 11 days.
Speaking of games that we have no idea what it's about, Pentiment comes out in November of this year. This was like the storybook one. I literally put in my description, no idea what this game is about.
Yeah, it was this is the one where like the cutscenes weren't really moving, right? It was just,
it was like it looked like a book and you were like walking through pages.
Yeah.
So
cool concept, like cool art direction.
Yeah, I saw a game like this once. It was called Paper Mario.
Oh yeah.
It took place in a book. So Grounded. This is one that comes out in September this year. Basically, this was like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but into a video game. You're literally like shrunken into a backyard and you're fighting ants. I'm pretty sure there was footage in the game that was taken directly from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I always wanted to have an Oreo that was just like, so big that you could just.
Well, in the movie, it was one of those oatmeal cookie ones. That's what it was, with the cream in the middle.
Oh, it wasn't an Oreo?
It wasn't an Oreo.
Oh man, but oatmeal cream pies.
Those are good.
Little Debbie knows, man.
Erebon Shadow Legacy. This to me comes out later next year. This was a combination of Prince of Persia meets Assassin's Creed. Yeah, like the gameplay. I thought it was really cool. So it was kind of like it looked like these mech type android type things, and this person was basically like flying around the city, and they kept like changing into a shadow ball basically and attacking them. This one looked interesting.
Yeah. Looked cool. Won't play.
Another game, Diablo 4, comes out next year. Again, more typical Diablo stuff.
Well, no. Not typical. No. This is something. This is something. This is something.
All
so
right. You got a minute.
So with Diablo, we might need to take a break 3. So Diablo 4, they released the 5th and final class, which was Necromancer. So now the 5 classes for Diablo 4 is you have Barbarian, Druid, Rogue, Mage, and Necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I've played a lot of Diablo 3. I really like Diablo 3. Had a lot of fun with that game. That had a very cartoony almost design and not cartoony in the sense of like cartoony, but like just like it wasn't so much like
glad you clarified that.
Yeah. You know what I mean.
I know. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But Diablo 4 harkens back to more of the art style of Diablo 1 and 2.
Okay.
So it has that a little bit darker feel to it, a little bit more realistic sort of art style and direction. But they also talked about how this game there's going to be actual PvP in it, which the Diablo 3 did not have PvP. And this is going to have like actual end game to do. So it's not quite World of Warcraft or like MMO style, but it's more heading in that direction, which I didn't realize what they're going to be doing with Diablo 4. Really cool, really interesting to see, especially with the negative feedback that Diablo Immortal is getting right now for the mobile devices.
Oh, yep.
Really excited to see how Diablo 4 turns out.
I will take your word for all that because I've never played any Diablo games.
Yeah.
Cool. Sea of Thieves Season 7 comes out July 21st, 2022. I've heard quite a bit about Sea of Thieves. I didn't realize they had different seasons. I'm assuming this is kind of like when you were playing, is it Destiny?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So do they have like a time cycle as to when you can do stuff?
Yeah, so I don't play Sea of Thieves. My buddy Tony is a big fan of Sea of Thieves. So my guess is, yeah, they a lot of games do seasons now. So usually it's about 3 months or so worth of content. And then after that, like, and usually there's like an overarching story for the content of that season, with like new items, new maybe a new place to explore, this, that, and the other thing. So
is this from Rare?
Sure is.
I was like, where do I know this name from? I remember when we were looking up video game developers, and that's where I knew I came across this name. All right, cool.
Yep. So this is like, especially talking to my buddy Tony about it, this is the type of game where I feel like if I sat down to play this, I wouldn't want to stop. So like, it just seems like it has a really cool feel to it.
Ravenlock. This is one comes out next year. I thought it looked pretty cool. I described it as Alice in Wonderland meets Legend of Zelda. I mean, she's literally running around with like a sword and shield at one point, and it looked a lot like the Hyrulean shield. Just gonna say that. But yeah, graphics are pretty cool. Kind of Fable-ish. If you played that like on 360, reminded me a lot of that. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it was like Fable with like a Link to the Past.
Yeah,
sort of look to it.
Cocoon comes out next year. This one moved really fast when I was watching the video. I was like, it's some sort of like puzzle platformer type game. If you're into those, have at it. Wolong Fallen Dynasty comes out early next year. I have no idea what this game's about either.
So this is from Team Ninja. So Team Ninja is known for the Ninja Gaiden games, a whole slew of other games that are not coming to my head right now.
That's okay.
So it'll be a fun action game, I'm sure. Nice. So
Persona 5 Royal coming out October 21st. RPG. I didn't really know a whole lot about this one either. I've heard this is supposedly like a huge game in Japan. Is that correct? The Persona series?
The Persona series, it's huge in Japan, but it's also very big here in the States.
Gotcha.
It's a slice of life school game plus RPG elements.
Gotcha. Well, you enjoy that. And last but not least, Starfield.
Well, hold on a second, real quick.
Just kidding.
Before we get to Starfield, and
okay, we'll take a short break, and then we'll come back to dive into Starfield, so we have some adequate time to explore our emotions regarding Starfield. And we'll be back.
And we're back. So before we get to Starfield, the last thing is the Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid. He announced that he is making a game with Xbox Studios, and it is something that he has wanted to make his entire life, and that is all they said about it.
I'm glad you said that he was creator of Metal Gear Solid, because I had no idea who the guy was when I watched the video. I'm like, he looks important, but I don't know who he is. Anyways, yeah, this definitely piqued my interest. The only thing I'm concerned about with this is I I'm worried he overhyped it because he's basically saying how this is going to be the most amazing thing that's ever been put into a video game, which is pretty lofty goal if you ask me. So
for a lot of people out there, creator of Metal Gear Solid, but he also did Death Stranding, and Death Stranding wasn't much of anything for me. But
I've never heard of that.
With the guy from, you know, the movie Boondock Saints and The Walking Dead, Norman Reedus.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yes. You are a mailman with a baby.
A mailman with a baby?
Well, you're like a postal worker. Anyway, think up the. So Starfield. Wow.
Yeah, WoW is right. My description of this was Metroid Prime meets Mass Effect, but better. But better.
So yeah, wow. First official gameplay. This game. I'm actually, if you want to do some talking, I want to look up when this game actually was first announced.
Talking, let's see. I didn't really know a whole lot about this game before this big presentation. Obviously, being the first that we've seen it, the graphics were amazing. And it's funny because when I first saw it, I'm thinking Mass Effect. And I remember when Mass Effect came out, how blown away I was by the graphics. And then this is just a whole nother level. And again, when you get to the part where they do the first intro, and then it cuts to like where they're like back at the Capitol, and it was just beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful and stunning. So I am this. If I haven't gotten an Xbox by the time this game comes out to play Mass Effect, I will definitely be getting one just so I can play Starfield. That's how incredible it looked. And maybe Forza Motorsport. And maybe a few other games are on this list.
Yeah, so Starfield was first announced back in 2018. And
holy crap.
It's been rumored that they've started working on it back in 2015. So by the time this comes out, it's been essentially be 8 years in development.
So, remember we were talking recently about taking your time when releasing a video game and getting it right? Well, if they don't have it right by the time this is done, I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, so for someone like yourself who's not that familiar with Bethesda games and their history with games that have come out, do not, and this goes out to everyone listening, and the only reason why I'm keeping my expectations tempered a little bit is only because of their history of shipping games with still 1,000,001 bugs that they have not been able to work out. And that's been with the Elder Scrolls, that's been with Fallout, but for what we saw today, so the graphics look great. The world, the story looks awesome. I did find it, I'm sure you did too, find it funny when they talked about how, oh, you're the one who recovered the artifact and you saw a vision. It's like that's Mass Effect, right?
I've seen this story before.
Yeah,
it was pretty good the first time.
So
I mean, just the fact that you start out the game like on this outer world, I'm like, it does seem very Mass Effect-y to me. But like I said last week, what did I say last week? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it looks incredible. Again, I want to read a little bit more about the storyline and like how everything's supposed to transpire. But it just from the first footage I saw, it seemed to play very similar to the very first Mass Effect, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. Like, obviously, I think Mass Effect world has a little bit more of that sci-fi, like the kinetic and telekinetic abilities and skills and stuff, where this seems a little bit more focused just on pure kind of gunplay, with not necessarily like any like cyber kinetic type skills, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I love the look of upgrading your weapons, crafting new weapons and upgrades for your guns and stuff. That looks awesome. Like I said, it was really cool seeing. Personally, I'm more excited for Elder Scrolls 6, but they have just teased like the logo for Elder Scrolls 6 because this is I'll say is coming out before Elder Scrolls 6. So once this is out, then they can finally really start pushing forward to Elder Scrolls. So it'll be good to finally get this game out.
Shortly before we started recording, and I was like waiting for you to get on, I was on our Twitter account, and there was a ton of Twitter all about this Xbox presentation, and somebody mentioned Starfield, like the amount of time that's gone into the environment. There's something like they said like 1,000 worlds or like hundreds of worlds are like playable on this or something crazy like that, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, so 100, I think they said 100 or over 100 different like solar systems.
Oh, that's might have been what it was.
And but you were right, 1,000 plus worlds. In each world, it's not just like you can explore like a chunk of the world. According to what Todd Howard says, which is the creator of the game, you can explore the entire planet.
That's crazy.
1,000.
Do they give you a Mako?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, hopefully.
I tell you what, if Garrus shows up in this game, I'm gonna have some suspicion.
So it's the space combat looks awesome. Like that's what a lot of people like when Destiny first came out. So you have a ship, but there's no space combat. Like you can't fly your ship. So the ship customization in this looks awesome. It just looks like a really, I mean, it looks like a game that you could sink 200 hours in and still just have plenty of stuff to do.
Yeah, it looks super ambitious. And I mean, knowing that they've been in development for 7-8+ years, I say rightfully so.
Yeah,
it should be ambitious. I mean, if this gets to a fraction, if like the playability is a fraction of what they're saying it is, it's going to be well worth it, I would think.
Oh yeah. So this is coming out, they said
next year.
Okay, it is 2023. Yeah. There's 2023 is going to be a huge year for games, but already just by what was showcased today by the first ever gameplay, this is going to be right up there for game of the year. For 2023, I can totally see that.
I would imagine, yeah.
It's just it looks absolutely incredible. 2023 is just going to be a kick-ass year for games.
And this is just from Xbox.
Yeah, right. There's just from Xbox. So,
man, I'd hate to have to quit my job and just do this podcasting full time and play video games, catch up on everything.
I know. Yeah, it really did blow me away. I fully expected that we'd get a gameplay reveal from this year of it, but that certainly exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I like I said, when I finished watching the whole thing, I mean, it was an hour and a half long. I went back and I counted. I'm like, holy crap, there were 30 games that were discussed in this presentation. It was just pretty massive.
And so for all these games, because it's Xbox, or I should say, because it's Microsoft, all these games you can play on Xbox and PC.
And I think almost all of them were going to be Game Pass available like day one launches, which is pretty amazing.
Yep. So when you get an Xbox, you said you're doing Game Pass. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Did they say is Starfield? Did they say that? They said that's going to be day one.
I think almost every one of the games I had listed here were going to be day one releases.
Yeah,
if not all of them.
So that's huge,
dude. This is a big week with a lot of stuff to talk about. Faux show.
Yep. So I know it's, we probably could say more about Starfield, but it's getting pretty late.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot more to talk about coming up, so we can dabble into more Starfield in the future. But another great episode in the books. Hope everyone enjoys it. We'll be back next week. Can't wait. We're gonna have a lot to talk about next week because we're going out and we're doing some ATV riding next weekend.
Ooh, yeah.
Can't wait.
So you know where to catch us. Same bro channel.
Same bro time.
We're brothers.
We're brothers. Peace.